Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cash back really adds up.
Thank you for turning to 10, your news leader. 10 News Conference with Gene Valicenti continues right now.
Meet the mayors. That's where the heavy lifting is done. Fill my pothole, collect my garbage. My guest today on 10 News Conference, the mayor of Attleboro, Cathleen DeSimone. She's been on the show with me before. In fact, we did a debate not that long ago. Yeah. She's in the middle of her first full term as mayor, so she's coming back for re-election.
You like
this? You go for this?
I do like it. I like a lot of it. Yeah. Not all of it, but most of it, yes.
I remember that debate. That was a pretty...
yes, it was good. There were four of us.
Spirited debate we had over here. And then I had you in after you once, and now we're having you back. You're in the middle of your term.
Yes.
So you got a ways to go. Let's just get to stuff that's been in the news, including this. You want to call it a water crisis? What would you call it?
It was a combination of events.
Let's just quickly recap it. You had a bad leak. Substantial water loss, mistakes were made, valves were left open, employees didn't tell you, you had to find out about it, whole big buzz in town.
Yes.
What happened and where do we stand?
So, well, where do we stand, knock on wood, I don't see any wood in here, Gene, is that our reservoir is full, which is wonderful.
Okay.
So this whole thing started last summer when we began a process which is called blending due to high levels of manganese in our water supply.
Yeah.
Long story short, there was a valve issue. More water was coming through than we had originally understood, and because it was more than we needed, some of it went over the dam and downstream. That mistake was corrected after about 7 weeks, so that was bad enough. But what followed, again, and people don't want to hear this, what followed was a significant and historic drought. So it's one thing to have these issues and mistakes happen, and then we got slammed with a long-term drought that lasted until, early in the new year. Thankfully, the drought has ended. We're back at a normal status.
The water boss is out?
Yes,
We have
a new water superintendent. His name is Dennis Morton. He's been on the job, I think, 6 weeks. Very happy to have Dennis. There's a lot to do.
And it says you apologized to the constituents. It wasn't you who left the valve on.
No, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I mean, the public is still owed an apology. They still deserved better, you know what I mean? Although it wasn't the only source of the problem. Again, it was a significant drought. It shouldn't have happened. All
right, let's talk about some bright things. I was in your town. I'm off in that commercial strip over there.
Yes.
You have a new Wayfair furniture store came in.
Yes, I went there last week. It just opened last week. The place was hopping. They're in the South Attleboro Plaza. Happy to have them.
Yeah, and then that's full. That whole area, there's
Gene,
store after store after store.
South Attleboro has long been the city's economic hub.
Yeah.
There's so much business there, restaurants, and they're continuing to grow.
But everything's good until you get up to the mall.
That's, I don't,
right?
that's a tough one.
What happens?
Gene,
Everything's bustling on this south end. You go north. That mall looks sad.
So the mall
How long is Macy's? I mean,
The mall is in North Attleboro, so it's not in our jurisdiction.
I know it's not, but it's your commercial strip there.
And it's sad, but it's not an uncommon problem across the country, right? Malls are kind of dying a slow death, but yet there are some places that have found a way to revitalize and renovate them. I personally, again, it's not my jurisdiction, I think it'd be a great place for some really nice condos. You could literally create housing and a community in the same building, but I don't know what's happening there, just for the record.
You're right. You crossed the town line, but that strip is one big strip. And it's the southern end is bustling. Bustling. Restaurants, everything. Car dealership. You get to the north end, not so much.
I hope they can solve the problem, though. I hope they can solve that problem, figure out a way forward.
I asked you during the break, how do you get along with the governor when you see her?
I haven't
She's got a plate full.
Yeah, I haven't seen Governor Healy in a while, but I think we have a good relationship. But yes, she is very busy, has a lot going on. But she's been to Attleboro once, and then the lieutenant governor came down. So I think our relationship with the state in general is good.
Well, she's getting hammered for spending billions on migrants and hotels and shelters and money. And, look, that's the governor. It's a statewide issue. But in your town, you have some of those little issues that spill over.
Of course. Look,
right? You have migrants. You have ICE maybe coming in. Go ahead.
So I'm sure we do. I think every municipality across the country, certainly in the Commonwealth, has these issues. And is ICE around? I've heard kind of indirect information, but I have no idea. They don't have to tell me when they're coming or what they're doing. As you know, the enforcement of immigration law is a federal matter.
Yes.
I may be one of the few mayors who have literally worked for the Immigration Service. I spent 4 years in the trial court of the Boston Immigration Service, back when it was the Immigration and Naturalization Service. Then I left that and went to private practice, helping people to stay in the country and get lawful status. And on top of that, I taught ESOL classes, so it's fair to say that I'm somewhat familiar with the issues on both sides.
More so than any other people.
I think so. I don't know anybody else, but yeah, it's been a while. Just for the record, I was employed by the Immigration Service 96 to 2000.
But you know, now that you're mayor, we're going to ask you, well, if ICE comes in, are you going to cooperate with them? You know, sometimes the neighbors rush in the street. And they go after the ICE people, protests and everything. Would you let your local police keep crowd control and say you got to help with this immigration
Well,
rate?
first of all, as I said, the enforcement of immigration law is a federal matter. So, and by law, we cannot assist or intervene.
But
so,
you can do crowd control. They can say, listen, I'm going to be in this apartment building. I need you to keep the peace on the street.
And if things
because you know what happens now.
I know. I saw what happened in Worcester and other places. And if things were to get out of control and it became kind of a public safety issue, we would. But we would not intervene or assist with the enforcement. But yeah, and look, people have feelings about what's happened in this country. I get it. But as I told my kids, with whom we've had really robust conversations, you have to start with the law. If you know what I mean, our immigration law hasn't had any kind of serious, significant changes in many, many years, and we are due for it. However you feel about immigration, right? We need to do better.
Let's talk about more local issues.
Yes.
Your schools came up, and that debate, you were standing right over there.
Yeah.
Schools, affordable housing.
Yes.
Your fire, your police, it all came up. Let's go, schools.
Being a mayor, it's like everything, everywhere, all at once. Our schools are good. Of course, we have our brand new, state-of-the-art, best high school in the Commonwealth, Attleboro High School, which is going gangbusters. And as literally kids are leaving, Gene, some of our local charter schools to come back to the public high school. It is that good. It's amazing. Some of our schools, like many other municipalities, are in need of some capital improvements, right, over time. And man, things age quickly. But overall, I think our schools are generally in a good place. We're doing a districting study right now. As Attleboro continues to grow, we want to see where the kids are and determine our bus routes and school assignments and that. Police and fire departments remain an issue. Our police headquarters and fire headquarters are literally in buildings, Gene, that are about 100 years old. So it's less than ideal. So we're trying to work on a long-term solution. I'm a fan of a joint public safety complex. It's a much longer endeavor, finding a location and then funding it. But I'd like to see that happen in the city. I think it's time. I think we're big enough, and I think that our public safety officials deserve that. Not happening tomorrow, but definitely something on the radar. We have significant capital improvements needed in our water and wastewater departments. Again, like so many municipalities, it's infrastructure, 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 the costs for which are just going up. And we're limited, as you know, in Massachusetts to Proposition 2.5. So as costs go up, you know, our hands are still somewhat tied by Prop 2.5. So those challenges remain. Affordable housing also came up during the debate. Yes. And that's a challenge in every community. It is a challenge. I'm a big proponent. When I took office, I inherited 4 empty public buildings. I would say government's not always good in the field of real estate. So I'm in the process of, one is up right now for affordable housing. One we just sold for use possibly as like a visitor center. It's a historic building. I'm trying to get another school up for low-income family housing. It happens to be in a very nice residential neighborhood. And one of the other schools that I inherited is actually under development right now with a company who's going to build affordable housing there too. So, how are your relationships with the council? Pretty good. You know, it's 11. They're 11 elected. Every mayor says that. Yeah, pretty good. You know. It's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard. Obviously, their duties are different than mine. I think we get along well. The council was very supportive of significant initiatives that we passed this year in the city. And look, at the end of the day, it's about conversations and relationships. I am totally okay with disagreement and different opinions, but what I really value is when we can come together and have a conversation and maybe find a way forward. Sometimes not, sometimes yes. So I'm grateful for the councilors with whom I have this kind of relationship. We sit down. I just called somebody the other day. I'm like, you know, just be straight with me. Where are you? And if you're not where I am, I'm going to try to persuade you. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. It's all good. So just 30 seconds on your relationship with the unions. Generally good. Job? Yes. When I took office, most of the union contracts were up for negotiation. So I think we're in a very good place at the moment, particularly with our public safety unions. The teachers' contracts are coming up next year. That's always a delicate balance. And it gets harder as our costs go up, particularly health insurance. You know, it's going to get a little tricky, but we do the best that we can with what we have. So at the moment, I would say it's good.
And then finally, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You want to be reelected. What are you going to point to? Here's my crowning achievement.
Oh, my
when
goodness,
it's time.
Gene.
Just give me one.
Oh,
Point
boy.
to something. This is number one.
As I said, I think selling some unused properties that the city was sitting on to try to get greater value. But I'd like to say, without bragging, there's been a lot of things that I've done. Some have been kind of in-house, not so sexy, improving our technology in City Hall, improving our operations. I'm a big fan of process, trying to make things smoother and easier and more cost-effective and efficient. But that's not the sexy stuff, you know?
I know.
So.
Come to Attleboro, drink the water, and shop.
Yes, it's all good. Come on down. We're open for business.
Well, Mayor, thanks. It's nice to catch up with
Gene,
you.
always a pleasure. You're a pro.
We'll have you again, and as maybe opponents as they come. Everybody will be heard.
Let's come. Let's go.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Gene.